Hi guys, it is Tammy with Cheers to Creativity, and we're going to paint a really fun porch leaner with my fall gnome that I kind of designed yesterday. Hey, if you would like the tracer for that, you can go ahead and just put tracer in the comments, and I'm going to come back and put a link where you can go and just click the link and it'll take you to a place where you can get the tracer, okay? So it'll either get popped on here by my husband while I'm doing my live, or I'll go back afterwards and put it in. I did the original guy on a little smaller board, but you'll be able to make it as big as you'd like. And I did it on block posters, and I think it would turn out to be about the right size to do for a porch leaner. Okay, so had some technical difficulties. Always operator error in my case. So I'm going to do my best to get my wits about me, and we're going to go ahead and put you down, and we're going to do the gnome first, and then we'll add some words. Remember, Essential Stencil is doing their 25% off sale right now, and it is a great time to pick up some stencils for porch leaners or anything else for that matter. I love the welcome one. One of the reasons I love it is because it comes with some interchangeable pieces for the O. You can either do it as an O, or you can do it as a dog print, like a paw print, or as a wreath. And it's always a really good seller. Hey, I just saw that my husband popped on the Constant Contact link to get the tracer. So that's awesome. So remember, that's 25% off. It's already figured in. You don't need any special codes for that. But if you do use Cheers, C-H-E-E-R-S, you'll get an additional discount. So, hey, great way to save even more money. All right, I'm going to push you down. I don't like technical difficulties. This is the welcome one I was just talking about. And see how you can interchange. You can do the O, or you can interchange it with the wreath or the paw print. So it's really versatile. And it's a little bigger than the 5-inch letters, just a tiny bit bigger. I'm not sure if I'm going to want to put that much, those big of letters on here, but we'll find that one, or maybe we'll go with the Hello Friends. I really like that one too, or Hey Friends. So we'll figure that out after we get it going. I'm going to do my best to pull you up on my iPad. There we are. And see if I can watch comments too. I did bring my computer in because I thought I was going to have to use my iPad to do this. You know, it's okay. It's all good. All right, I'm going to set him aside. You might even be able to see him if I move this board. It's always hard to show you guys porch leaders because you can kind of see them. Okay. I may need to make some adjustments to the pattern because this board is obviously much bigger than this one. But my idea is still the same. I want to do my gnome here and a couple pumpkins and still have room for some wording up here. So I think with that, and knowing I'm going to want to do words more down the side, I'm going to make my gnome, my gnome's going to be about here. That's just a pencil line. No, nothing creative there. Okay. Let's get going. I'm going to start my gnome with his nose. This is DecoArt Warm Beige. All the colors I'll be using today are from DecoArt. So let's make our guy about this. Here's his nose. I'm just going to do some rough base coating first, and then I'll come back and add a little more as I need to. You might need a little bigger nose than that. I freehand a lot of my stuff, but when I'm done, that's when I make the tracers for you guys. So, like I said, if this guy changes a lot, we'll go in and make some adjustments to the tracer, but I think he'll be okay. I'm going to grab some slate gray. That's not slate gray. That's not slate gray. Well, this is gray sky. It's going to have to work. Let's see if I set my gray elsewhere. Hot Mess Express, I tell ya. Slate gray. Just wasn't put away. Any of you guys ever have that issue? Can't find your stuff? It's right in front of you, but you can't find it? Okay. going to sketch in his beard. Try to keep my plate out of your way. I'm just filling it in sketchily. All the fun stuff comes in a few minutes, so we'll get some base colors down. I think people are starting to get ready for fall. I think he's a good transitional piece. It's not too fall-y. Well, he's pretty fall-y. Okay, I'm going to rinse my brush real quick. I'm going to grab some spiced pumpkin. I'm going to fill in his hat, create his hat. Might be a little different than the last one. Yep. Hello, Crystal. Hello, Tammy. Hello, Rhonda. Nice to see you guys. Really appreciate when you pop on and watch us. And we love, love, love when you sprinkle it or share it. Whatever Facebook allows us to say today. I'm just going to create his little bit of a hat band first. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to give him a woolly hat. I'll go like that. Let's fill that space in. Probably could be using a bit of a bigger brush. Would probably save me some time. I know this is going to need a second coat too, so it's all right. Down here, connect that hat. There we go. About right. It could be a little taller, huh? We'll make him a little taller. Hey, it's just paint. We can always add, we can always subtract. And no two things I ever paint are exactly alike. I kind of like that. Not everybody does. All right. Gonna need to decide how long we want his legs. I may be putting some ground in here too. I think I will be. Just gonna rinse that. Make his beard just a little fuller. Maybe just a tiny bit longer. I know, a little messy, a little messy. And I'm going to get some antique gold. And if you've got a brush about the size that you want the thickness of his leggings to be, you can just use the width of the brush to create his stockings. I think that'll be about right. That's a 3/4 inch brush on this one. So I'm just going to pull my paint out of my puddle on both sides of my brush, but by doing that I kind of keep a nice sharp little chisel edge. And I can just kind of come here and go, how far down? Could use a little more paint in my brush. Maybe a little water. My porch board that I'm working on is actually reclaimed fence wood. My husband took 2 fence pickets and first he planed them down to get all the nasty stuff off of them, and then he put them together so they're a little wider. A little more paint. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. I can't keep up with the comments while I'm painting, but I always go back and check them afterwards. All right. He's okay. All right. Now I'm going to grab a little black paint. And I'm going to just go beyond his stockings a little bit on each side and make like the cuff of his boot. Am I right in your way? I probably should have made my gnome bigger, but it's okay. I'm deciding we're just going to have lots of pumpkins down below. So I've just created, we'll just call this a little rectangle that extends beyond his stockings, a little bit on each side. I have a really rough piece of wood right here. It just doesn't want to like flow very well. It's okay, but that's all right. And then I'm just going to make like a C. So I'm going to go just a little beyond my cuff. And I'm just going to come up here and make a C, and that'll form my boot bottom. This board is fine, except this one little spot is super, super rough. Okay, I'm going to do it on the other one as well. So I'm just making the C. You don't really see the C shape, but when we go back and highlight it, it'll show up a lot more. Boy, this spot, it's all okay. Okay. Whew. We'll let that dry for just a sec. I'm going to come back and give another coat to my hat. And then we'll come back and we'll add a little shading to his nose. This is actually being done on the back side of a porch liner you may have seen me do a couple weeks ago, the one we did with all the coastal things. Finish base coating this, and I'll flip this real quick and show you. I like to do two-sided porch liners. I joke with my customers that it saves them storage space. And with the cost of wood, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, so just real quickly, this is the other side of it. So this person will have a summer, and we'll be able to just turn it over right away for fall. Let's not have that fall off. Hang on, let me see if I can see any comments real quick. Link in the comment above, yeah, and I'll come back. If you put Tracer, I'll come back and find your comment, and I'll add it to your comment as well. Just can't do it all. Sparkle, sparkle. Okay. The sign that he was holding was really more because it needed something, because I'm going to have the words coming down. I'm not necessarily feeling that I'm going to need to put the sign in his hands. But, you know, I could change my mind. I'm going to come in with the beige color again. Rinse my brush. And I'm going to need just a dot of red. And it doesn't matter what red. I think I just grabbed True Red, if I'm not mistaken. I did. But first thing, I'm going to give him another coat. And while it's still wet, and I still have that color on my brush, I'm going to pick up just a tiny, tiny bit of red. Then I'm going to find a place on my plate or my palette, whatever you're using, and I'm going to push it back and forth until that color blends. And then I'm just going to take and I'm going to kind of pity-patty it. I'm not like pressing really hard. I'm just lightly setting the color down so I can give him a little bit of a blush on the bottom of his nose. Lift that so you can see that. It's just a very little bit. All right. So I gave that a really kind of quick coat there. Oh, I gotta do my stockings first. Sorry, I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere. I'm gonna grab a contrasting color. I believe this was Dark Hauser Green. We'll go with that. I'm just gonna grab a skinny brush. I'm just thinning it just ever so slightly just so I can make it move. And I'm going to do lines this way. Oops, missed the paint. You could just add polka dots, just something to give his little leggings a little interest. Trying to keep them fairly consistent. Okay, then I'm going to go the opposite way with double lines. I guess we could call this kind of my faux argyle. It's those little details that sometimes just make your painting pop and just has just a little more fun. Doop. All right, so now he has some cross hatching on his leggings. I'm going to grab a touch of white. I'm using quite a bit of white here in a second, so yeah. Go back with my flat brush. This is the smaller flat brush. I gotta wash it out because it's got orange in it. Still has orange in it. All right. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of white paint, and I'm like I did with the red on the beige. I just same spot back and forth just to help spread that color. And this is where I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna put that little bit of a C. So you can kind of see the top of his boot. And I'm going to come back with a little liner brush. And I'm just going to give him just a couple little lines in the top part of his boot. Boot, shoes. All right. I'm going to use this brush that they call a wisp brush. This is actually one from Royal Brushes, and it comes 3 sizes, and it's actually one of their kids' brushes, but they work awesome. They're also called feather brushes or wisp, what else do they call them? Wisp, feather, there's a couple other words. And the cool thing about it is when you pull the paint, it actually breaks into these little sections. Let's see if I find a little something that I could just show this to you. So when I go and it just makes lots of little lines. So that makes doing my beard a lot faster than if I was going to do it with a liner brush and put each and every line in there. So that's what I'm going to do with his beard. And just start up by his nose and just start pulling down. Really fun to do beards, fun to do grasses with this brush. I'll come back and add a link for this too. I know that Michael's sometimes has them. Hobby Lobby might as well, I don't know. I tend to get mine on Amazon, just because I do. You could make this beard just straight, straight beard, or you can get really fun and curly with it. It's whatever you like. And if I haven't hit a spot that I might get too much white, if maybe it didn't separate as much, I can just come back with the gray and go back over it when it's dry and use the same brush, and then I'll just break it up a little bit. I almost always do this in a couple layers so I don't end up blending too much. My nose is running. I think it was all the stress of running around right before. Oops, I know. Plate is in the way. I'm just getting really close to my nose. All right, I'm going to let it be for just a moment or two. And I'm going to come in with a darker orange. You could either use Georgia clay or you could use burnt orange, maybe even burnt sienna. And this is what I'm going to use to do some shading on the hat. And if shading is something that's a little more challenging for you, then go ahead and go back with your base color and put it on your brush first. And then pick up that corner color. And remember to move it back and forth a couple times on your plate. And that's how you get the more softened, blended color. So I'm going to take the color, the darker color, and put it right up next to his nose on the hat. I'm going to pick up a little more of the paint, do the same thing, walk it a little bit. And then I'm just going to give it about a brush width. And I'm going to go above, and that'll kind of help form that, little rim on his hat. And pick up a little more of the color, still pushing back and forth. And then I'm just going to outline it a little bit here and there, and I'll pull some of that color in toward his hat. And then I can come this way and maybe make it look like it's turning over a little. Shade a little on this side, ran out of paint. Adding just that little bit of shading and highlighting just makes it look so it has a little more dimension. I'm going to bring that a little closer for you guys to see. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to add a lighter color for some highlight. Sit. And I'm going to need some antique gold. And that's what we used on his stockings. And again, if it's easier for you, you can put the orange on your brush first, or you can just pick up the color. In this case, it's the yellow. And I'm pushing on my plate a couple times. And I'm going to do it next to the top dark orange that we did. So I'm adding a little bit of yellow highlight onto the hat band. And I'm just going to come in a couple places on his hat too, maybe opposite of where I shaded. little spots. I think it's pretty good. I think I need a little more color on my nose. Sometimes when the paint starts to dry, it'll fade a little bit. So again, you can start off by adding the base color. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of just the straight red. See if I need a little. I just want to have a little more blush. I just saw that somebody said they were having a hard time finding me today. Well, I understand that with Facebook today, because when I came to go live, it told me I couldn't go live, which kind of upset me a lot. And rinsing that out of my brush, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of the white. And I'm just going to use the corner of my brush, but you could just use a little round and just make a little bit of a happy little mark in his nose. All right, I'm going to make his pom-pom. I'm just picking up just a kind of a scruffy brush like this, and I'm going to start with pouncing into the green. If you watched me yesterday on our live, we did cattails, and this is kind of the same motion we did on our cattails. Making it look like a little bit of a fluffy ball. And again, just so it's not one-dimensional, I think I'll tap into the yellow and just add a little bit here and there. All right. Need a little more white in our beard. So same brush, the exact same thing. I'm just going to make mine a little whiter here and there. And this is usually when I'll get to adding a couple more curly cues on the bottom. Or have fun with it. I think he's pretty good. Let's put some pumpkins down by his feet. And since I made him so high, I think the first thing I'm going to do is actually grab a little brown paint. And I'm just going to brush. This is that same scruffy brush. A little brown, a little green in there, doesn't matter. Standing on the ground, and then we're going to just create a path. Oops, wrong color. Okay. See my path. A little black, a little brown. We'll add more to that later. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start my pumpkins. And you can make that, you could fill this whole area in here with pumpkins if you want. I'm gonna go ahead and utilize some of this space to make a couple bigger ones and have some that sit on top of it. I'm gonna start with a white pumpkin. And for my white pumpkin, I'm going to base coat it with buttermilk. So any ivoryish color will work. This is buttermilk. And Essential Stencil has a lot of stencils that you could use just to stencil on your pumpkin too if you did not want to hand paint them. These would be great to use. You could just put those right there. I like to paint pumpkins, so I think I'm going to hand paint mine real quickly. Okay, start thinking about what we should put down the side. Should it be welcome? Should it be hey friends? What are the ones we have? Welcome to our porch. I have most, I think, of the what I'll call everyday ones. So I'm going to start by making a pretty big pumpkin here. I'm going to start with the middle, kind of like an eclipse. Pointed oval. Then I'm going to come on this side and make it bigger. I'm going to go on the opposite side, like C's parentheses. I'm going to start my parentheses up a little higher here, a little higher here. I'm just going to fill in the top part. And I don't mind that there's space because that'll help me with my shading here in just a second. I'm going to shade it with some brown. Again, still have the paint on my brush. I'm picking up just the corner and just pushing it a couple times on my plate to spread the color. I'm going to go on the outside of my segments. So here, here, if you need to switch to a smaller brush for the smaller areas. Okay, so that's the shape of him. Just got the top of my head, sorry. Might be time to get a hair color. I'm just going to pick up some white. Oh, a bit of white right here. And I'm just going to add some white on a dry brush. That brush is not dry. Glad I did that. That had some black in it. That would not have been ideal. So I'm just going to add a little bit of white. And it's not everywhere. It's just like a little bit next to the brown to help give our pumpkin a little more shape. We can come back and add some accent colors too. All right, let's pick up the spice pumpkin. And let's make a pumpkin kind of sitting on top of him. Let's start again with kind of that eclipse. And then thinking of more like parentheses this way and this way. Maybe we'll make this guy a little fat and squatty. He might be sitting right on top. Scoot around that one. I'm going to make another orange pumpkin over here. This guy, tall and skinny. Have fun with your pumpkins. Make them different sizes so it gets to be closer to Halloween. Add faces to them. Even if you don't want to paint faces on them, you could always just the old-fashioned when we were little kids, we would just cut faces out of paper and add them to the pumpkins. All right. So he's tall and skinny. I'm going to make another one gonna make this one almost more of a yellow orange down here. So there's my center, there's my parentheses this way and this way. I'll come back and shade these guys in just a sec. I'm going to show you something else really quick with the stencil though. Oops, I'm right in your way. Sorry. Another part of that wood that's really rough and doesn't want to take any paint. We'll get some paint on that. Okay. He'll be fine in just a moment. Really, he will. Okay. I'm going to show you that you can take your pumpkins, whether it's this one or maybe I'll have a better, smaller one available to me somewhere. Here's a little small one. I'm going to use him right here. I'm going to show you that you can use your stencils right about here to just fill in the shape that you want. So I'm just going to use it like the stencil. Got this one little bridge that wants to pop up. And even if I wanted to add another little one here, with the yellow, I'm using a dirty brush. And where I've got those lines, those are called bridges, I can just come back and fill those in with the color I used. And then go back and do the shading like I was showing you using the corner of the brush. But sometimes it's great to use your stencils like that to just have the shape. So you just fill in the shape. All right, I gotta come back and shade some pumpkins. We'll get this one filled in and then I'm gonna shade them with a darker color and I'll highlight them with a lighter color. And we have to add stems. Stems are always good too. That one, fill this one in just a tiny bit more right next, so he's right next to him. Okay, I'm going to use the brown to do the shading on the one I just did here. Those little bridge lines are a great way to show me where to shade too. I can use the brown to shade the orange pumpkins as well. A little more brown paint. I'm trying hard to stay out of your way. Oops, just got a bunch of white paint on there. Just want brown. So I'm going around my segments that I created to add some shading. Do that on this guy too. Need a little smaller brush for him. When I paint, I go through lots and lots of brushes. My end of the night is always filled with washing lots of brushes. All right, almost got the shading in here. I'm going to come back and add some stems. if you don't want to do this much shading, you could just line them. Just do something so they have a little more definition to them. I've picked up a little white. We're going to live with it though. Hey, make it work for you. Two more to shade down here. Let's do this one like such. Make them go different directions. There's a real quick look at this guy, and then we're going to add our stems and a little bit of highlighting. White pumpkins tend to be my favorite. Do you guys have a favorite color of pumpkins? And trust me, there's plenty of orange ones in our yard and in our gardens come fall too. But I just have a thing for white pumpkins, especially for decorating with them. All right, so we've got all these pumpkins just kind of floating around. We can add more if we want. I'm going to go with a round brush and a little green and a little brown. Oops. And a round brush. A little green, a little brown, and we're going to do the stems. How are we doing, guys? Almost ready to do some. Can you make this? So a little brown, a little green. I'm just mixing my color a little bit. And I start my pumpkin stems not on top of my pumpkins, but inside my pumpkin. So they kind of look more like they're growing out. And some of them are just stems. And then some of them are still kind of attached to the vine. And I'll pull the stem down into the pumpkin a little bit. I'm going to do this one more straight green. I think I just might make this one just a plain old stem. Make this guy go off the other way. Pull him down into my pumpkin a little bit, and have him come up. And back and forth between the green and the brown. You even might need to pick up a little white with my green if it gets too dark. So it's down here. We're just going to pull him up. Let him just be a stem. And this guy kind of be tucked here. Add a little bit of curlicue to that one. And this guy I'm just going to let be a regular stem too. Let's pull a little bit down into the pumpkin. What do you think? Pretty cute? I'm thinking I like it. Another option you could do is if you wanted to personalize this, if you didn't want to do welcome or welcome to our porch or any of those, you could do the Andersons, the Smiths, whatever your name is down here, using the 3.5 or 5-inch stencils. The alphabet stencils are a great way to go, so you can make anything you want. Let's pull this out without pulling everything. Probably not. So you could spell your name going down the side, and then you could put names on the pumpkins. That could be a lot of fun. All right, I pulled out a couple stencils to possibly use. Let me move this. This is the welcome. I have to tell you a funny story about the welcome. I told you it has the interchangeable O's. I actually did this one time and forgot the O. I forgot to put the O in. So if I do welcome, it's going to be pretty big. And it's going to cover up a lot of what I painted. So I don't think I'm going to go with the welcome. I think that might be a little too much. So let's look at, the thing I love about Essential Stencils is that while they're awesome and durable, I can still see like my painting through this, so I can get an idea. This is the one that says, hey friends. Oops. So we go, hey. Far further over. Let's go up. What do you think? Think the Hey Friends works pretty well? I'm going to flip and see if I can see any comments. Yeah, the welcome was definitely too big. What do you think about the Hey Friends? Think that one works pretty well? I'm trying to think if Another option might be Home Sweet Home. Take just a moment to see if we like that. Right now I like Hey Friends. You could also just find something that you like the saying on and just do above it too. If you wanted to leave, just do the pumpkin patch or your name in the pumpkin patch, or there's other fall sayings on other ones. Welcome to our patch. You could have that, and then you still have the ones down below. No, I'm kind of thinking. Oh, hello. You like the hello one? Just hello. Oh yeah, I do have the hello one too. Thanks. That's a great idea. Hello. What are you? All right. Boy, you can tell this was by the G. Oh, hello there. Move it off to the side. Oh. Oops, gotta go in a little bit to get the hello there. Move hello up, further up. Just do the hello. We could just do hello. All right. Great ideas. That's cute. Oh, just leave the hello. Okay. Just hello. Okay, let's just do hello. All right. Thanks, guys. So I'm going to make sure that I'm at the same spot. I'll go off to the side as much as I can. It'll be the O we have to watch out for. So there's that. And I am going to always use blue painter's tape, but, oops, I'm glad I looked at that because the H was going to fall off. Okay, so that's on. And this one's taped. Oh, just a little piece of tape there. I'm just going to put this over here so I don't forget to not do there. And I think I'm just going to do the hello with a dark green. I think that's probably the best option for my colors. So I'm going to grab a stencil brush. Just remember, these are the leaves that are come as a bonus to the Happy Harvest, or yeah, harvest. And so that would be fun to throw a few leaves coming down there too. Ooh, we might have to add those. All right, so dark green. I think we will give ourselves a clean plate, some green paint, and make sure I have some paper towel so that I don't put too much paint on here. All right. And again, if you want the tracer for this, put down tracer. It was put up in the comments, but I will come back and find your name that says tracer and attach it there as well. So I've loaded my brush. I'm going to take some of it off. This is soaking up the paint a lot. You think I should add some leaves when we get the lettering done? Let me know if you want to see some leaves sprinkled upon here. So Essential Stencil sale goes until 12 a.m. on the 8th. So you've got a couple more days to go ahead and get 25% off of all the stencils and brushes. Their brushes are amazing on the Essential Stencil site. So that's essentialstencil.com. And then if you use Cheers when you check out, you can get an additional 10%. That's a good deal. I am so anxious to get the ones that I ordered. I'm just kind of like a kid at Christmas time. I go and check the tracking all the time. Even though it tells me it's going to be here Thursday, it's like maybe it'll come here sooner. Now the spot where I'm going over this O and it's touching his beard, I might have to come back and line this up again and give it a second coat. But I'll want that to be completely dry. Okay, tracer please, great. I will come back and get your tracer and see. Did we want to see some leaves? I want to see some leaves. So near the mat. Hello. I like it. I like it. I think some leaves kind of coming from here might be kind of fun to see. So, and I like that there's different size leaves. So we can let some flutter down and maybe some can come over the letters. some dazzling metallics. Woohoo! So you can do these with the stencil brush, or you can do them with makeup sponges. Either way, I'll show you both. So I've already got green on this brush, so I'm gonna go ahead and use that green on this guy. But I'm gonna get some, use the dirty, but I'm gonna pick up some yellow, so it's not gonna be as green. It'll be a lighter color. Take the excess off. It's a little lighter. See that? There. You can't see me there. I will show it to you. Just a second. Just a second. I'm dabbing into the dark color. Do this. Move some of these out of the way. We'll move this down. Hot Mess Express. Oh my goodness, we've been on here almost an hour. So move this down just a touch. So this is the one I just did. You see it? Just barely. I've just got the dark green, and I'm coming. I'm just gonna pull a little of the dark green. I'm gonna wipe my brush off. And I'm gonna pick up a little bit of copper. Copper on the other side. And you've got one leaf. We'll do a few more. We'll do this one coming this way. We'll make this one more the oranges. We'll show you this just using a makeup sponge. Take some of it off. If you like more detail, you can come back and add, oops, I'm bouncing, sorry guys, sorry. You can come back and add lines for the veins. Let me grab a little gold. This is glorious gold. Not everywhere, but maybe just a little bit on the edges. Do this one going the opposite way. They can come in to be part of your letters too. Always make sure you watch the back of your stencil, so if you're going to keep using this in different ways, that you don't lay it down and it has paint on it, or better yet, use something like a piece of plastic to protect it. Okay, I'm going to do this one here, and I'm going to let it cover some of my letter. I'm going to dab into more of the yellow. Let that stem be a little bit of a green. Tap lightly going up, so it's got a little bit of green in the center. I'll pick up a little bit of that orange, deepen my edges. Ooh, the red. Picked up a little bit of red. Red just on my edges. So leaf going there. Oh, we can just add as many as you like. I don't like these little guys are even cute. I'm going to pick up a little bit of the green and a little bit of the yellow to make a light green. Just hit the tip of his head. All right. I think you can tell I can get pretty carried away adding leaves. You can come back and also use something like twinkles to add a little shimmer to his hat. So I'm just brushing on a little bit of the twinkles, Decor Art twinkles. Maybe a couple little spots on his hat as well. Add it to the little pom-pom. If you want any of your leaves to have a little glitter to them. And even a touch here and there on your pumpkins. Doesn't have to be much, just a little something just to give it just a tiny bit of a pop. And you don't have to do all of them either. I tend to get carried away with glitter. And then I feel like the ones I don't do are sad because I miss them. I really hope you enjoyed watching me paint the gnome. Again, the tracer link is above somewhere in the comments, but just go ahead and put tracer and I'll come back. I'll go and grab a cup of coffee and I'll sit down and I'll add the tracer link below your names. Let's see if I can stand him up. Oh. Here he is. Hello. And we've got the gnome and the pumpkins. I'll get him nice and close to you, sort of. So there's our gnome. Try to get him close to you. And our pumpkins. You can see the little bit of glitter on him here and there. A little glimmer. And then we added some leaves that were the extra. So thanks again so much. I really appreciate you watching. We love when you follow us on Facebook and on Instagram, and when you share, it makes a big help. So have a great rest of your day. I'm gonna go add tracer links for all you guys. Take care, bye-bye.